Hello from wherever you are, and welcome to Let's Play Games. I'm John McFarland, Adult Services Librarian for National Public Libraries, and I hope you'll join me in learning or rediscovering some of the more common and uncommon games out there. This time, we are going to go into one of the most popular trick-taking games, gathering books. Get out your shovels. It's time for spades. Let's get stuck in. So, before I show you how this game is played, I need to go over, especially if this is your first time seeing it, card decks and how they work. So, this is the French style deck, which has 52 or 54 cards depending on how you look at it. There are 4 suits that are in each of these decks. The clubs, the diamonds, the hearts, the spades, and 2 joker cards. So our game today, Spades, is going to have some significant import as to the spades suit. More on that in a second. So we need to talk about high and low real quick. Now, each of these is in a row. Ace, notice that kind of replaces the 1 through 10, and then our court cards, Jack, Queen, and King. This forms an entire suit of cards. Now, one of the things we discuss in a lot of card games is this ace right here. In some games, the ace is the lowest card, being that it just represents the 1. There's also times where it is the highest card at the end and the most valuable. For this game, the ace is going to be the high card. And from here, I'll go ahead and bring these back. And to say a little bit about the jokers for a moment, this game does not typically involve the jokers. There is one version that will involve the jokers that we'll get to in a moment. So for the moment, I'm going to put them off to the side since we know we'll use them later. And I have to talk about shuffling. It's one of the most important parts of a card game because otherwise your games get pretty boring pretty quick. So what you do is you do a split, what's called cutting the deck. So you cut the deck and you will hold it in your hands, and the top right on each card, you're going to hold it like this with your thumb, and you can give it a little bit of a bend. And you're just going to slowly let some of the cards go at a time. You've got this nice little mix right here. And then you simply push it in. There will be a little resistance from it, but they should all go in the same spot. So the question is, how many times do you shuffle? There's some competing theories on this. However, there is a study that I personally like going through of 7 shuffles. Because at 7 shuffles, this is, with some math involved, one of the more optimal shuffle times where at that point you really don't get that much more random in shuffle. So we'll go ahead. I think that's 5 right there. 6 and 7. So for this game, you are trying to make what are called tricks. They will be collected in books. With this game, you are scoring points by determining how many of these forthcoming hands are you going to win. Each player is going to get the equal number of cards, 13. From here, there will be 13 hands. How many are you going to win? That is the simplest form of this game. So first, this is going to be a 4-player spade. So each person is on their own competing against the other people. So this provides a good opportunity to show you how to select the dealer. You can, as an option, agree upon someone out of the 4 of you being the dealer, or you can draw the card, and whichever is the high card is the one that wins. So what we have here, I'll go ahead and draw 4 cards at random. We've got an 8 of hearts, 4 of clubs, Queen of hearts, and a 10 of clubs. So with the way that this works, the first card drawn is the lead card. In this game, you should be playing a heart with whatever you have in your hand. Obviously, we haven't drawn hands yet. The Queen of Hearts is a higher card than the 8 of Hearts. The 4 doesn't matter here and the 10 doesn't matter here because it's not a heart. The Queen would have been the high card. So let's draw, the next card would have been 4 of Spades. So let's say this was 5-player for a moment. That spade in this game would supersede or trump all of the other cards that have been played for this part. So even a 4 of cards, even though it is less than the Queen of Hearts, still would be the key player. So we will run off of the assumption that I'm the dealer here. So you'll have the person to your right cut the deck. They'll just do it like this. Make sure it's even. And then you will deal to your left. So from here, each person will get the same number of cards. And what you will do is, once you get your specific hand, you'll start looking at it and you want to make sure that no one sees the other cards you have. You don't want to do what's called tipping your cards or tipping your hand. And as a general rule, this game is played to a certain number of points, typically 500. It's actually, in some games, a penalty if you reveal your cards or tip your hand. But obviously, since I'm trying to play for you, we are going to show you all of the cards. So let's look at what I dealt to myself. We've got a couple spades here, so let's kind of space this out here. You kind of want to have at least 1 or 2 things in every, oh, put that to the wrong one. In every hand, so you've got something to play. So remember, spades, this is important. You've got the 9, the 10, and the 3 of spades. So you've got at least something that will trump. We've got the 4, the 9, and the Queen of Hearts. The 5, the 6, and the King of Clubs. The 7, the 9, and the King of Diamonds. So remember, we're looking for the high card. Everyone will play in each hand 1 individual card and see if they can attempt to be the one with the highest card. The spades, I've got 4 opportunities. This 3 I'll actually keep towards the end of the game because as people play spades, you'll kind of know who has what towards the end of the game. And from here, once you reveal everybody's cards and get a chance to look at them and organize them, you will then do the bidding. So 1 second, let me get this all set up so we can go over it together. We'll go over the bidding and then the play. But I want to tell you about the history of cards because there's a long and fascinating history about how these card decks came to be. 1 second. I love talking about the development of cards because we're so familiar with this French-style card deck that we don't remember that there's a long and storied history to cards. They actually started in ancient China when it was the game of strings, where you had coins, myriads, and strings. It was like a leaf-painted style card, and you would play it as normal. You would see the development of cards into the Middle East, into the Arabic Golden Age, where you started seeing the court cards, which would be the vizier and the shah, as important cards at the end of the deck. It wasn't until even later on, talking about the 11th, 12th century, when you started seeing card decks make it to Western and Central Europe and be replaced with the medieval mainstays, the king, the queen, the jack, which would have been referred to as a page or a knight. But there's other card decks which go into even more depth of the time period. More on that in a second. So I went ahead and separated out everybody's cards. We'll take this a little bit at a time. So we'll look at my hand first. So I've got 4 spades, Not bad. I can use these as trumps if I'm trying to win a hand and I don't have anything within that suit. So remember, I had earlier talked about the lead card or the lead suit. So if I chose to play the clubs, the person would then have to play a club if they wanted to claim, okay, I'm going to try and win it with this. If they know they don't have anything good, they will dump a card that's bad to try and get rid of it and have an advantage in the later rounds. So going first can sometimes be a disadvantage, but thankfully it rotates all around, so you have to be strategic with what you use. So for here, I've got a very even amount of cards. I've got 3 kings, including a trump king. Not bad. The only card that can beat this king is the ace of spades. So this can be strategic when knowing who has played what and how that person has played. I also think with the kings and queens, these court cards are really helpful, but in theory, depending on how things shake out, I've got some dump cards like the 4 of hearts, the 5 and 6 of clubs. So I'll use those knowing, okay, I probably won't win anything in the club suit, but maybe I can pull 1 if someone plays the ace. This is where you're thinking about your bid. Notice there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we've got 13 cards in each player's hand. How many tricks do you think you'll win out of 13? You can bid a minimum of 1, but every player has to bid a certain number. Matching this bid is going to be immensely important into scoring points. If you manage to get 4 in a bid and then score 4 tricks, that's 10 points for each trick because you're going to collect these in what's called a book. So you get 4 books, you met your bid, that's 10 points. Let's say you get 4 tricks, but you bid 6. That means you do not meet your bid and you get no points. Let's say you bid 4 and won 6. Conversely, it's an extra point. So you would get, in theory, 10, 20, 30, 40, 1, 2, 42 points. Not bad. This game, like I said, is played to 500. So I'm going to look at the other hands. I've got the ace of spades, so I know I'm probably winning at least 1 trick. 5 and 6, Another ace, not bad. Queen, okay. And some dump cards on the rest. Some of the lower court cards on this opposite player, aces and kings are really the, I'm pretty sure I'm winning at least a certain number of tricks. As long as you play strategically, you should be able to win certain hands. This person is going to try and have a field day with the clubs because they've got almost half of the club suits, so they can use that to lead and also potentially force out trump suits, because if I know that these are the cards that are available, if I play the 2 of clubs, everybody else has to dump their clubs of varying amounts. Paying attention to what the person has already played and what's out there is really important, especially for this player because they only have 1 spade. So what I'm going to say is that every person here bids 4, just for sake of simplicity. So let's kind of collect up the hand. And each player is gonna, like I said, you're gonna keep it silent. And the good news is that this game, once you get it started, is a fairly fast-paced game because in general, you kind of know what you have, what you don't have, and what you feel comfortable playing, especially when someone leads. So I will say this, you do have the opportunity, if you want to play unsportsperson-like, where you, generally speaking, are supposed to follow that lead card. You can, in theory, decide to renege on that and play a card with the hopes that you can win a trick later. This is bad form. This is considered generally cheating. It depends on whether you get caught or not, I suppose. If you do get caught, there is a penalty of 3 books that will be discarded, will not count towards you or any other player's total. But if your bid is 7 and you renege, win 4, you only got 1. Not good. So like I said, we are going to treat this as each player bid 4. And the first person's going to play a 7 of hearts, just kind of a middle one here. Now this player has a heart to play. They're going to play fair. They're going to put out the jack. You don't want to necessarily play your ace at the beginning because, yes, you can in theory win the hand, but you can use it when you know that you've got 2 more players and you want to kind of draw out the queen or the king. So here they know they want to beat that, so they're going to go ahead and play that king. And as long as this person has a heart to play, they'll play it. Now you as the last player have a decision to make. I don't have anything that beats it. I don't want to renege. So what am I going to play? You know that this player's winning the hand. So what you'll do is you'll play the worst card you have, the 4. Player here will just collect that book, put it off to their side. They won, so they are going to lead with something else. So they'll play the 4 of clubs to try and draw out. They know that there are only a certain number of clubs out there. They want to hopefully draw out the king. So 4, this person will play a 5. They're now in contention. This person will play a 7. And over here, they'll play one of the only ones they have, since it's an easier one, the 9. So, player across from me will collect their book and will lead progressively on. Play like this will continue around and around until we start seeing some cards that are going to be pretty close to the edge of something. Let's see, we'll play the ace. Hasn't been played yet, so they got to beat a 9. That person will play the queen. And play will continue on and on into the end game. So hold on one second. Let me wrap this up and then I'll show you the end game. So we've gotten to our last bit of this round. The last person to win a hand was me in this instance. Now, we now know that everybody has 1 card left. We've played strategically. They've tried to hold on to their aces. They've had to hold on to the last spade they have. This is a good strategy to try and get, at the end, force certain cards to come out. But since I won the last trick, I'm going to play the 1 card I have. Queen of Hearts, so Hearts is the lead card. This person has to dump their ace. This person plays their spade. They're now in the lead. And they know that the King of Spades and the Ace of Spades has already been played. So this person takes their book. Like I said, all players bid 4 that they would think they would win over the round. So let's see what actually happened. I only hit 3. It's only 1 short, but that means I get 0 points for the round. This person also bid 4, got 3. Nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They achieved their bid. So they get 10 for each that they bid and 1 for each extraneous hand. So that'll be 10, 20, 30, 40, 41 points. Over here, same instance, bled 2. So you can bid over the course however many you think you're going to win over the round. But play would, you'd reshuffle, you'd continue on, and play would continue until someone got 500. Take a step back, a little bit more about the history of cards, and then I will show you a couple different ways to play this game, because now that you know the basics, you can spice it up a little. 1 second. So there are so many different types of card decks out there. You actually can see, we have the 52 card style deck here. There are card decks of 36, 40, 48 that were all regionally specific and limited to the time period of what could be printed and recreated. Cards used to be more of an aristocratic style game because these were expensive to produce, and until the advent of mass printing, you didn't see a standardized deck, so you used what you had. These games would also be played in a more noble setting as a way of leisure and entertainment. And it wasn't until later on, in the 16th, 17th century, when you really started seeing the common populace being able to afford, use, and play these games as a way to have a divertisement. So now that we know the basics of how to play this game, let's talk about the different ways you can play it and add a little bit of fun to the game. Remember I said you were playing to 500 points. Well, depending on how good your draw is, remember this will be played over the course of 10, 12, 15 rounds, depending on how long it takes for somebody to meet their bids, score the right number of points. You can also play in a couple of different ways to add in some large totals. You can do what's called 10 for 200. You bid that out of this round, you're going to win 10. This would be really good if you had 8 or 9 spades, knowing that you can just consistently drop high cards, win the hand, and be able to, while leading, win the hands consistently that no one's going to beat it. So, for example, if I had the ace, king, queen, jack, and 10 of spades, I know automatically I'm going to not be able to be beaten on 5 hands. So I know my minimum bid is 5 there. Let's see what else I can then bid. So if you do 10 for 200, you bid 10, and as long as you win 10, you get 200 points. In a game to 500, this can be pretty decisive. So think of what opportunities you have. You also can play a nil bid if everyone agrees upon it. The nil bid is I will win no tricks over the course of this entire round. So this would be I have no spades, I have basically no high cards. So let's look at this person here. The highest card they have is a jack and then 1 ace. So say we get towards the end of the game. This ace of clubs could actually end up winning a hand, and players would try and see if they can make this player win at least one trick, because usually this is agreed upon for there to be some semblance of losing points. Notice there's not a lot of ways to lose points, just you don't accrue them. You would agree that the nil bid, if they don't get it, would lose 100 points. So you got to be pretty confident. Also, another version that I've seen played is called bags. You would agree that you're trying to get the exact number of bids. So what you would do is you would get the 10 points for each trick met bid, but any excessive points, you would get the point for them. So say this player that had 5 tricks, they bid 4, they met their bid, and then they get 1 extra. This would be known as a bag. Usually at around 10 bags, that would be the agreed upon amount. You would actually lose 100 points. So it adds a strategic element to the game where you're trying to not only win, but win on the nose rather than run away with it. Another fun version of this game that I really enjoy playing, that I don't get to play as often as I would like, is face up spades. So instead of hiding your cards, you'd all agree to put the cards on the table. Now you know exactly who has what. This is kind of a fun way to learn the strategy and decision making of a game, because now you can see, okay, I know that person has that ace still. They're going to play it at some point. When are they going to play it? It's a little nice way of learning the strategy of a game while allowing yourself to focus, play to your game, to your bid. Those are a nice fun couple of ways to add to the game of spades. As long as you agree upon the rules, play it as you like. You can actually play also as teams. This is 1 and 3, 2 and 4, so you would be partnered across the table. A good element of strategy would then be determining how many bids is this person going to make, how many am I going to make, or you agree to make a collective bid. So this functions pretty much like whist in the way that it's played. You don't tip what you have, you're trying to cooperatively make a selective decision as to how many tricks your team is going to win. So as a 2-player team, a 4 bid is not as hard as a 6 bid as 1 player. What you would then do is the person who is across from you, that is your teammate, let's say they're leading the hand and they're winning the hand. They've played ace of spades. You now know that you're winning the hand, so there's no reason for you to throw down another high card. This would be where you would dump a card, dump your low card, and be able to successively force the hand of people and win as a team. That is spades. A little bit of interesting note about this game. It was fairly popular among noble classes as a variant of whist, which we've talked about previously on this series. But why did this game reach its popularity? It really goes down to the First and Second World Wars. During downtimes in a war zone, you needed things to occupy times to stay alert, to stay awake. Well, spades was one of the games that really took off among American soldiers. And considering the ease at which you could put it down, put it back up whenever you needed, you had the ability to quickly play through or slowly play through to your heart's content 4 hours of content. This game, when it came back at the end of the war, came back to the States. And as people started going to college off of the GI Bill after the war, it started spreading to universities and quickly took root as an immensely popular card game. This is probably one of the most commonly played games to this day. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in. Join me next time as we delve into another board game. Be sure to check out some of our great NPL Universe content on our YouTube page and go to library.nashville.org to even see our board game collection where you can check out numerous popular board games. I'll see you next time.